guys? Andrew here. If you haven't watched me, I've made some videos in the past years when I was younger. Work, other projects, gets in the way. I stopped focusing on, trying to make any content. Just about every day I think about, making videos, and thought maybe I'd give it one more shot, see what happens. So I can keep this, going steady anyways, and if people like it, great. If not, then great. But regardless, basically I'm here in my shop. I got the shop with some buddies. I have some cards here. Some of the ones you've seen already aren't mine. This one's mine, just the red one here. Basically, a once NA, then WRX swap / STI swapped Forester. I'll make maybe a better video in depth on that down the road, if anybody asks for it, of course. It's winter time here in Canada, so you see all the fog here. I'm turning on a generator. Today, I'm working on a project I picked up a couple months ago. 1998 Toyota 4Runner, BC truck here in Ontario. That's a big deal. BC is known for cleaner trucks anyways. I'm gonna work on this, and cool if I can film as much as I can about my progress with this thing and any major stuff I do to it, kind of go from there. So when I picked this thing up, it was pretty well stockish. Only thing I had was these projectors that somebody installed, and it had an exhaust. 2 or 3 months of ownership. All I've done is install some OME rear coil springs to help it with the sag in the rear. And about a couple days ago, I bolted in these vintage Hello 194 spot lamps or spotlights, whatever you want to call them. However, I didn't actually wire it in yet. Obviously, these would have had some, halogen style bulb. I picked up some HIDs from Amazon, so we're gonna see if I can make them fit, and if they do, awesome. Let's check these lights out. So trying to keep my camera work as steady as I can, really. They are pretty old, so there's some cracks, but yeah, they're pretty cool. So let's get started on that. So before I do any wiring, I'm gonna pop the generator back on. Definitely clear up kind of my workspace. I haven't really messed around here since like summertime / fall, I guess. Kind of led to just dumping stuff. Okay, so here I pretty much have, I think everything I'll be needing to make this work. So starting off with like wiring harness for a light bar I had on my previous 4Runner. I actually have this switch here. It looks really cool because it has this cover on it that kind of flicks off. But anyways, I'm going to be trying to get that wired into here, but then in continuing that, I'm gonna have to modify the other end as well. This is for a different kind of plug, as I'm sure you can see, than what I'm dealing with. Somebody putting on some like spade terminals to that to be able to wire in not one but then 2 HIDs. So I gotta kind of fabricate some sort of like little mini harness to do that. I bought some generic, just Amazon ones. Nothing special by any means. God, I hope these even work anyways. Let me get this stuff opened up and see if I know what I'm doing. Okay. Interesting. I believe I've kind of finished converting it. One of the Hello lamps, I did make this little harness here. Here I have the, this is the harness. It's all sprawled out there behind, but yeah, it's this weird plug. Cut these here, cut them off, and then put in some kind of like spade connectors to make it work with the lights I got going on here. All right, so essentially, I kind of almost made like extensions, if you want to call it that. Adding this wire, so female plugs there, follows to here where it kind of gets splices together to the other one for the other side, if that makes any sense. But I think you'll get what I'm talking about when you actually see it together. Really chomp that off right there. Anyways, so we got these here. I'm gonna strip them. Get the right one. Sure, let's go with that. Little spinny type things, and then yank. Got a female end here. That's not moving. Now for the other side. Crush. That's nice and tight. So now I'm done this, I think we should lay this out on the 4Runner and the engine bay, get an idea of like what it's looking like, probably how I'm gonna wire it in, and then, yeah, kind of go from there. Starting off, this is a passenger side Hello lamp, simply bolted on the module that came with the HID. Here is that, I guess, kind of mini harness thing that I've made. One's gonna be for this lamp, one's gonna be for the other one, and then the bulk harness is gonna plug in the middle. A lot of excess wire. Following here, I'm probably gonna be zip tying it or somewhere under this rad support under here, so it's just not as visible and not as much of an eyesore. Coming around here when I tuck it in, we have a couple things here. One will be a fuse, and then a relay would be in here. This relay I'm probably going to bolt onto a factory mounted. It doesn't have to be grounded by any means, but just it might be easiest, of course, just bolting it on right there where there's already a bolt on the body of the car, so you don't got to drill in anything, and then your positive and your negatives, right? Tucking that away. Probably going to continue feeding this around through here, and then this stuff pretty much all goes to the cabin of the car. We haven't done the switch just yet, so I'll definitely make sure we get to that here shortly. Yeah, there's a grommet here on the firewall, which the bulk harness already kind of feeds through, so probably poke a hole through that grommet, and then that's where we'll feed the switch to turn the lights on and off. I got the driver's hella lamp out. Not that it really matters what side it's from, because it's kind of going to be the same. I'll show you guys how I'm attempting or essentially converting these lamps to HIDs. Now, obviously, they're going to be very, very different depending on the style of lamp you have. Again, these are significantly old, so seeing some of the new hella lamps, they already come that way, HID, LED, whatever. But anyways, starting off, taking this bolt off. This is a glass lens on this one. Taking the bottom bolt off, putting that there so I don't lose it. The way this one comes apart, I left the hardware on here for the sake of not losing that, but the way this one comes off, you kind of pull the bottom up that way, then kind of releases from there. For now, I'm going to put this aside. I don't need that yet, but I will be. So here you got the back. Kind of pulling that out like that. Again, being the Amazon HID setup thing, came with like a pre-grommet already on there. Not sure, maybe for a different style of headlight or for whatever application you're using it. I myself did remove it. I'm going to remove it off this one too. That way everything's kind of nice and separated and I can extend everything how I have to. Mostly because I didn't put the ballast inside this, like the back of the lamp. It didn't actually fit, A, but then B, I also thought about even if it was rattly in there, I don't want to scratch it up or maybe even damage this from, you know, hitting against, you know, the metal there for so long. So I'm just going to cut this off here, like so, if I don't, you know, catch anything, of course. I'm going to unplug this, just again, for the sake of not being in my way. It's always very important to not touch the HID, like, filament itself, no matter what. So I got to dump that. Oils on your skin can, you know, cause it to burn funky, unevenly, whatever. Want to make sure, of course, you put it in the right way. Definitely a little stiff getting in there, but there we go. At this point, now that this is like this, I'll move this over. So, this housing, whatever you want to call it, obviously it has like a ground kind of built in. I'm not using that for two reasons. One, because this already has like plugs, but also two, when I mounted this on my bumper, I put some paint in the holes I drilled for the sake of, you know, rusting, so it wouldn't have had much of a ground connection there anyways. What I'm gonna have to do though, there's like this kind of grommet that's on there. Pop that out in, so I'm gonna hold on to that, but for there for a second. Now, so these lines here, I am gonna have to feed through here. This one feeds in no problem. This one needs a little bit of modification, if that's what you want to call it. I'm gonna start off by, not sure if you can actually tell there, for whatever reason, this plug there has like these here, which, you know, most cases you think these are like guides for the male end when it plugs in, but it actually doesn't interfere or have anything to do with that. It's just kind of there for style or design. So I'm going to trim this down a little bit, an X-Acto knife. Now, everything I'm doing in this video, don't take this as a how-to. Take this as a how I'm doing. I'm not trying to tell anybody this is by any means the right way to do this stuff. Plastic, so it's pretty easy to carve. I've completed that. I'm done with this for now. Putting that aside. Now, come back here. It still wasn't quite enough when I started, almost when I scraped it off. So, I do have a drill here with one of these, the ends that, you know, obviously kind of bore it out. And this exact one, I'm probably gonna get really close to maxing out, to be able to squeeze that through, but, oh, almost. Perfect. I'm gonna quickly put a little bit of paint on this. For the sake of rusting, I really don't want this to rust, but I'm gonna go quickly do that, and we'll continue. All right, so while I'm on the paint dry on that cap, let's start by taking this kind of kick panel off. Let's pull it down, and then I'm gonna pull one of these out because I'm gonna use one of these for the plug, but then also to kind of show where I'm gonna bring in the switch from through that grommet. So in doing that, pretty much gets it to come off on its own. Pull that down. Like I said, I'm gonna pop one of these bad boys out though. When we put that, the click thing. All right, guys. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to entirely show the whole process, what I'm gonna do, but please point out there's a grommet back there, where that harness is coming through. Kind of where this black wire right there is poking through. Try to feed through there and get the control to come out through here, then yeah. This is dry now, so I'm gonna put together. First things first, that grommet that was here, obviously it's a little too big, the hole's too big now. We're still gonna try to feed this stuff through it. So simply by, unfortunately, cutting half of it. All right. Now to still like, kind of take up that space, I'm gonna put like a good wob of electrical tape around here to kind of keep this a little thick, so when it goes in there, it still expands out. If that makes sense. Getting this ready to set up inside. Like I said, that's that ground wire. I'm not really worried about that personally anyways. Feeding these two in there. Now that's like that. Bring up the hole. Love tab's all I needed. Awesome. So lens is on there nice now. That grommet. Gonna wrap it around like this. And I kind of feed it back in. All the tape kind of made that stuff chubbier on there. Now, is this gonna stop water from getting in? No. Will this help? Hopefully. Or this is completely useless and I'm wasting tape and effort doing that, but hey, that's okay. Other than that, that's done with that. Let's put this back on the car. Okay, so now that I've got this really sitting there, let me grab the HID ballast. I'm gonna attach that and then go from there. I'm just grabbing a factory bolt that's on there, right side the horn. Just mounting something else on there, but just some bolt in that one. And I'm going to basically use that same bolt I did on that side. The last thing I personally really want to do is having to drill a bunch of holes into something if I don't have to. That's why I personally think it's ideal to just use any factory holes you can, any factory bolts that are on there. Notch back out. Now, what I'm going to do is kind of pull this out through the same side that's getting pulled out through. And then just from there, click. Perfect. Now we'll tighten that up. Try my best to aim them. This is more for like off-roading or back road driving. So I don't really point it up crazy, but now that that's done, my wiring little harness merger, whatever you want to call it, that I created. Boom. That's on there. Let's jump back on to getting that switch converted. All right, let's do that. So just to wrapping up, like I was saying kind of throughout the whole vid, convert this kind of boring looking, cheap in my opinion, type switch to something like this, a nice proper switch. And this one I do have here, does have a cover there. This is from an old project, so it's already been used. So, it's a new day. Let me touch base on what happened. Last time I attempted wiring that aftermarket switch I already had because I wasn't a fan of the crappy clicker that came with that harness. And essentially that switch is defective. I don't remember at all what project I used it from before. Obviously there was a reason that I stopped using it. I didn't glue two and two together. And kind of almost burned my 4Runner down, but I did go on Amazon and I bought a pack of 3, but I'm only using 1 today, of course. Satisfying to click. Already has wiring in the back here too. Negative. One of the positives is for the function of the switch on and off. And the one's actually for this lights up. You see where the white is actually lights up. Like I said, I've been waiting for this to come in. Thanks to Amazon Prime. It came in right away, of course. The video is not sponsored. We're gonna jump back in the truck where we left off, wire this in, and then go from there. Hopefully everything works out well. All right, guys, so we're back in the 4Runner. I have extended this out and fed it through where I want my switch to go. What I'm going to do is going to cut this plug off and then put those spade connectors on the ends here so I can plug in my Amazon switch. I might have to trim this off, kind of make it flush with the top half, as you can see there, because it is a little wide, but the top is just perfect space, but in here it gets a little tight. So I have to cut that with a little razor blade. That's not too big a deal. I'm not too worried about that. Obviously, as I'm doing this, I've disconnected the battery because I'm going to be cutting these guys loose, right? So kind of do the same thing as I did last time. Pull that plastic back a little bit if I can. I'm content with that. Cut all 3. It's 1, 2, 3. Start off with the positive just because that's the furthest one out. Got my spade connector there. Little tug. Check to make sure it's good. Last one. In this case, this is the one for like backlighting. Still undecided if I want to wire it in, just for the sake of it's gonna stay on even if the truck is off and like the key's off, wired directly to the battery. The Amazon listing claimed that it is very low energy consumption, so I may leave it on, but my only concern is that light staying on even while the truck is off. So, I mean, I guess we'll see how that goes. Finished here. I know which ones are which there. Let me grab the light switch. Mine came with this instructions, if you want to call it. So it's claimed that the top left are the positive. So this one that's at my thumb is the one to go to the battery for like the actual lights to work. And the bottom one here looks to be for the backlight to actually work. So let's plug that all in. I am going to individually put some electrical tape around each one, should they ever touch and short anything out. I have no exposed cable showing. Now I just got to start trimming that off there, and then I can feed it all back and got the light switch on there. I'm going to try trimming this down without cutting the wire. It's going. So I've done one side. Let's see if that is enough. I don't think it will be, but hey. Oh shoot, might actually work. Force a little bit in. And there it is, just like that. Now that it's pretty much buttoned in, let's connect the battery and see if the backlight shows any sign of life. Awesome, it works. So, if I flick this top one, this should light on as well. Cool. And I do see that the HIDs are also working. So let's make sure everything's nice and tidied away. As far as like the wiring, I'm gonna take a quick minute, go over, make sure if I need to zip tie anything hanging loose or anything I'm not too sure in yet. And then as well as that, I'll just make sure the battery's nice and tight, and then we'll show you guys what it looks like. So it seems like we have successfully converted vintage Hella halogen lights to HID, wired them in the 4Runner with not much modification required in the sense of having to drill holes or mess anything up, other than of course mounting the Hella lamps on here, which I didn't record, and then just a little bit of trimming on the interior to be able to mount that switch in. So now I'm going to take the covers off. I'm going to turn the lights off, and we're going to see how bright they are. They are HIDs as well, so they won't be bright right away. They take a little bit to kind of warm up. Let's see if from this angle and this setting, the camera can catch it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I feel these lamps look awesome on the truck. They're not as intimidating as like a light bar or anything, especially with the covers on. Please like, comment, subscribe, whatever you guys want to do. If you like the video, let me know if you guys want to see a video on my Forester as well. Since it's winter time, that may end up being like a spring or summer thing when I do pull it out. Let me know if you want to see more videos on this 4Runner. I gladly would love to hear you guys' input on that. If so, stay tuned for the next one.